good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for wherever you are on this beautiful planet Earth. Today I can see the autumn coming in and the darkness arriving, and the light is beginning to grow weaker outside. And what I know from my past experience is that the light, when it grows weaker outside, has a tendency to begin going weaker inside. We begin to feel that little death that comes. It's like, oh, we're going inward now. It's getting cooler. We're going inward, and it's time not to be so expanded and dreamy and summertime. It's time where we begin to collect ourselves, and actually nature, as it seems to die and change and the trees get bare, underneath the earth is a very, very potent time. And so this is the same with us. We are expanded in the summer, and as autumn comes, things get cozy. We think of fire, and we think of soups and the fire of the hearth, not what California is still being endangered by. But with this inward sense where we begin to collect those parts of ourselves that have been on vacation. And as this time goes on, from Michaelmas through Christmas, there is an inward collecting and a newer and newer clarity of thinking. And the clarity of thinking that comes in winter is so clear. That's in Waldorf schools, they teach math in the winter semester. People read books more in the winter. It's an amazing time. Maybe the type of book changes than the summer reading, entertainment. Maybe there's a sense of that inside, even though it's dark, something has a sparkle in there. Maybe it's the flame that we have talked about many times, this inner flame that is like an ember. You can think about it. I like to think about it when we build a fire outside, and it's coming just a little bit catches fire, and we begin to blow on it, and we see it begin to grow. And the more we blow on that one ember, however small it might be, it grows a radiance within. So we don't need to, some of us like to focus on the parts that aren't working, the fire that isn't catching. But we really do want to focus on that which is strongest in us. So looking to what was that original part of oneself that was strong? The soft, the sweet, the strong, the funny, the happy, the talented. What are the gifts of your life? And focus on those gifts now, because those gifts are what helps that ember to grow. But to think of the blame and the shame and all the misdeeds that all of us have done, but to focus on them takes the oxygen away from the ember. That isn't our goal in life. However, at the same moment in time, not to focus on them and focus and focus and blame and shame until we feel so heavy. But there is a way we can come to going inside to the inner life during this time, and with the strength of heart, with clarity of listening, we can ask that part of ourselves, oh dear one, is there some way, some reason you keep saying that to yourself? Maybe it's because you don't believe it. You keep having to say, oh, how bad I am. Oh, how dark. Oh, how this, how that. It does not inform us. We can't learn from that. The thing we can learn from is who is the one who keeps asking this? And what is the goodness that can come? What can we learn from the parts of ourselves? And I recall this when I was a young woman, of going over and over things and living in them. And it was a hard time in life, the 30s and the finding one's way, one's path, and having the toe come onto the path and then lose it, and come on and then lose it. There's something in us at different times in life that makes it more difficult. And so we want to learn from the places of darkness because they have such potential. It's like going into a dark cave and first just seeing the dark. But after spending a little time, we might be able to see the little embers, the little lights that are in there. And so we want to strengthen the parts of ourselves during this time that are already have a little bit of light in them. We want to grow that light so that when we are in that dark cave, we have the light with us. Because it's not all of us in the dark cave, it's just a part of us that's exploring and wondering, what is this here? What is this force? And this force, I believe, beyond the collective darkness, that is a whole other force, it's not our force, but our own darkness is the parts of ourselves that is often very confused or hasn't really come to light yet. And so when we feel we have the strength to go into that dark, when we have the strength, when we have enough light to see into the dark, to hear the wisdom, oh, you are there to help me in some way. Who is this friend who is dark? Who is this part of me that wants me to stay a while with this subject? And then we learn what we can. We go in there, we say hello to that part. Hello. I feel your suffering. I see your suffering. Tell me more. Tell me more. Oh, you really want people to know you're suffering. Oh, you're lonely. How can I keep you company? Oh, you don't think you're good enough. You wouldn't be here if you weren't good enough. What is the part that isn't good enough? Who's judging? there's a kind of important life conversation that comes from the looking within when we have enough strength to do that. We don't always have that strength. But what we're doing in the meantime, when we're not having this inner conversation, we are building the strength. We are going toward that light getting larger, the ember being blown upon. It could be through art, through poetry, through some kind of a handcraft or a project that you really get yourself to do. You get taken by it. It's inspirational. In the past, people have done, there used to be quilting bees where women would gather and talk and have their hands busy working. It helps the mind to have a place, the mind, not the eye, but the mind, all the talking about the dark things and the judgments and the blames and the shames, but it helps us to stay in a state where we're not focusing on that. We're breathing, we're in a rhythm, we're comfortable, and when we have that health, a little more light, we can then go inside and again say hello. Oh, I can feel something in my belly. It feels like it's squeezing me and taking that light away. Oh my goodness, why would you want to do that? I would say to that part. Why would you want to do that? Oh, well, it's too bright and I get frightened by it. Oh, tell me about that fear. I'm all ears. It takes a kind of growing of the light, growing of that comfortability with uncertainty. And we are clearly living in uncertain times. So the growing of the light through your talents, your gifts, whatever they are, singing, dancing, movement work, art, poetry, friendship, walking, running, cooking, baking, oh, so many things, doing something for another person, creating some kind of joy for someone else, service. All of these things are what we can do to grow that light. And then when you're ready, begin to address, have help addressing. Seek a friend, seek someone who would guide you in that way. Because we are living in dark times. That's the real darkness. Not the darkness we inflict on ourselves, and those are all false darknesses. They're conjured up by some part of our mind that is so confused. Don't worry, it's just confusion, and it's false. It's a false darkness, and it can feel very real. But there is another darkness that we are all experiencing. It's going on collectively on our planet. The darkness of the politics, the darkness of climate change, the darkness of hunger, the darkness of unemployment and threat of life, the darkness of war. These are real darknesses. So together, let's grow our light, grow our strength. Whatever little thing can come. And when you feel strong enough, Go inside and find what can you learn about that voice in you that wants you to believe that you are dark, that you are always a dark person, that there's nothing good about you. That is so false. Remember who you truly are. Look at pictures of you as a little boy or girl. Remember the stories people said. Oh, that time we saw you in the garden sniffing the roses. Grow the light in order to have the strength to go inside and address the false darkness that lives there. May you be well, all manner of well, and may you be guided by your own inner light to remind that false darkness of who you truly are. Blessings on your journey.